Welcome to our channel. Tonight we delve into the eerie and unsettling world of true nighttime horror stories. These tales are not for the faint of heart. Viewer discretion is advised. If you're brave enough to continue, prepare yourself to be transported to the edge of your seat, where shadows dance and every creak in the night sends shivers down your spine. These are the stories that keep you up at night, the ones that make you question what lurks in the darkness just beyond your sight. So turn off the lights, lock your doors, and prepare to be thoroughly spooked. It was around 1:15 a.m. when Mike finally closed his laptop. He'd been working late again. Something about the silence of night helped him concentrate. The only sound in the house was the gentle hum of his computer and the soft tapping of his fingers on the keyboard. The glow from his desk lamp cast long, eerie shadows across the room, making it feel smaller, more confined. He stretched, his joints popping softly in the stillness. Cracking his knuckles, he reached to turn off the light, eager to finally get some sleep. That's when he heard it. A knock. 3 slow, heavy knocks at the front door. He froze, his hand hovering over the lamp switch. Who would be at his house at this hour? His mind raced, sifting through possibilities, each more unsettling than the last. He lived alone, and most of his friends were sound asleep by this time, tucked safely in their beds. Peeking through the peephole, he saw nothing. Just the impenetrable darkness of the porch. He flicked on the porch light, still nothing. The emptiness was more unnerving than a shadowy figure. It felt wrong, like a void staring back at him. Thinking it was a prank, some teenagers messing around, he tried to push it out of his mind and went to bed. He lay there, staring at the ceiling, his heart pounding in his chest. He tried to ignore the feeling of unease that settled in his stomach, a cold dread that seemed to seep into his bones. Just as he was drifting off, the sound came again. Knock, 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 this time from the back door. He sat bolt upright in bed, his breath catching in his throat. He lived alone, in a house set back from the road. No neighbors close by, no pets. Just the creaking wood of his old house, and a growing sense of dread. He grabbed his phone, his hand trembling slightly, and dialed 911. The phone seemed to ring forever before a woman's voice answered. 911, what's your emergency? I think someone's trying to break in, he whispered, his voice hoarse with fear. I keep hearing knocking at my doors, but there's no one there. But when the dispatcher picked up, she said something that chilled him to the bone. You again? Confused, Mike asked what she meant. We already sent a unit over, they said you were fine. You even waved at them through the window. Mike was silent. He'd never called before. He'd never spoken to them, until now. And he definitely never waved. He looked out the window, at the empty street bathed in the orange glow of the streetlights. The dispatcher's words echoed in his ears, each repetition amplifying the terror that was gripping him. He spent the rest of the night huddled on the couch, every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of leaves outside the window sending him into a fresh wave of panic. He didn't know who or what was playing this terrifying game, but one thing was certain: he would never look at his home in the same way again. Emily was a night jogger. She loved the feel of the cool night air on her skin, the quiet solitude of the empty streets. The world seemed quieter at night, more peaceful. Fewer cars, her music blasting in her ears, her thoughts a jumbled mess as she ran. That night she was on her usual route through a wooded trail near her apartment. It was just past midnight and the path was lit only by the occasional flickering street lamp, casting long dancing shadows that stretched out like grasping claws. The trees lining the path swayed gently in the breeze, their leaves whispering secrets to the night. As she ran, she noticed a figure up ahead, someone walking slowly, wearing a hoodie pulled low over their face. She slowed her pace, wary but not alarmed. Yet, it wasn't unusual to see other people on this trail, even late at night. When she passed him, he didn't look up, just kept walking, his gaze fixed on the ground in front of him. His silence was unsettling and she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. About 5 minutes later she stopped for water, her throat dry, her muscles aching. Catching her breath she turned, and there he was again. Standing at the edge of the trees, partially hidden in the shadows. The same hoodie. Same pace. Closer now. She took off running, faster than she'd ever run before. Her heart pounded in her chest, a frantic drumbeat against her ribs. Her legs burned with exertion, but she didn't dare slow down. She could hear her own ragged breathing, the pounding of her footsteps on the pavement. She didn't stop until she reached her apartment complex, the familiar sight of the building a beacon of safety. As she fumbled for her keys, her hands shaking, she looked back. The trail was empty. Relieved, she practically fell through the door of her apartment, the lock clicking shut behind her. She leaned against the door, her chest heaving, her body still buzzing with adrenaline. She collapsed on the couch, willing her racing heart to slow down. She closed her eyes, trying to catch her breath to convince herself that it had been her imagination, that the figure on the trail had just been another jogger, out for a late-night run. Then her phone buzzed, the sound cutting through the silence like a knife. She jumped, her heart leaping into her throat. She looked down at the screen, her blood turning to ice. A new photo message, no number, no name, just a picture of her, running, taken from behind. The figure in the hoodie was just out of frame, but his presence was palpable, a chilling reminder that she wasn't as alone as she thought. Jake worked nights at a gas station just off a rural highway. It wasn't the most glamorous job, but it paid the bills. Quiet shifts, nothing exciting, just him, the endless hum of the fluorescent lights and the occasional truck driver stopping for gas or a cup of coffee. But one night, a man came in, pale, nervous. His eyes darted around the store, taking in every detail as if he expected something to jump out at him. He walked with a slight tremor, his body tense like a tightly wound spring. He approached the counter, his gaze flickering towards Jake, then quickly away. "Excuse me," he began, his voice barely a whisper. "Can you tell me how to get to—" He stopped abruptly, his eyes widening as they fixed on something behind Jake. Jake noticed the guy's hands were shaking. He was clutching a crumpled map, his knuckles white with tension. Before he could answer, the man leaned closer, his voice a low, urgent hiss. "They're following me. Don't talk, just nod." Jake stood frozen, his mind struggling to process the situation. This wasn't some late-night comedy sketch. This was real fear in the man's eyes. He could feel the hairs on the back of his neck stand on end. The man bought a bottle of water, his hand trembling as he reached into his wallet. He placed a $10 bill on the counter, his eyes never leaving Jake's face. "Please," he mouthed, his eyes pleading. The bell above the door chimed as the man left, the sound unnaturally loud in the sudden silence. Jake stood there for a moment, his heart pounding in his chest, watching as the man disappeared into the night. Moments later, two other men walked in. They were tall and imposing, their faces hidden in the shadows of their hats. Dressed in black, their eyes didn't blink. They moved with a strange, synchronized grace, their presence radiating an aura of menace. They looked around, their gaze sweeping over the empty aisles, then settled on Jake. Did a man come in here? Short, nervous, carrying a map? Their voices were flat, devoid of emotion, sending a chill down Jake's spine. Jake hesitated, caught between the man's desperate plea and the unspoken threat in the newcomer's eyes. He shook his head, hoping he was making the right decision. They stared for a second longer, their gazes intense, probing. Then without another word they turned and left, disappearing into the night as quickly as they had arrived. Thinking it was over, Jake went outside for a smoke on his break. He needed a cigarette, needed to breathe in the cool night air, to calm his nerves. And there, under the flickering gas station sign, was the man from earlier. Standing across the road, partially hidden in the shadows, he was holding a sign made from cardboard and tape. One word written in shaky marker, "Run." Jake stood there, the cigarette falling from his lips, his blood turning to ice. He watched as the man turned and melted into the darkness, leaving him alone with a growing sense of dread. He had been warned, but by whom, and from what? He didn't know the answer, but he knew one thing. He wouldn't be waiting around to find out. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed these chilling tales, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more spine-tingling stories. Sweet dreams, if you can. Remember, the next time you hear a knock at the door, see a shadowy figure on your evening run, or get a strange warning from a stranger, it might be more than just your imagination playing tricks on you. Sometimes, the most terrifying monsters are the ones that lurk in the shadows of our everyday lives, waiting for the perfect moment to strike.